Here is where I get to set my spirit free. Here is where I find my naturality. Where are we going?
Where are we going? For those entering their final year of college, it may feel like a weird fever dream. You're almost done with college, about to go out into the real world. During a pandemic. So COVID changes things for some of us. Will we get a graduation? Will we be able to get into grad school? Will we be able to move out? Will we even be able to finish the semester in person with our friends? With all the uncertainty in the world during COVID, it's easy to become overwhelmed with all the what ifs. I'm Kiara Arias, my pronouns are she, her, hers, and welcome to another episode of Grit 2020. Today we are joined by Huntley Spencer, the president of the undergraduate student government. Hi, Huntley.
Hey, Kiara, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Would you mind telling us a little bit more about your role on campus?
Yes, so I'm the new USG president. I was just elected this following month, and pretty much I'm still kind of learning my role, so kind of learning as I go. Mm-hmm. But I'm pretty sure so far my role is really to help out my EC and their personal initiatives and really take the concerns of our students and voice it to the people who need to hear it. Mm-hmm. So I communicate a lot with FSA, which is our fiscal agent, and I do a lot with SUNY, who kind of oversees all of the SUNYs like Binghamton and especially Stony Brook. And our SUNY chancellor, the newly elected one, was just here yesterday, so I had to meet with him for a little bit. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot of paperwork, emails everywhere.
Nice.
But I'm doing it for...
So you got a lot going on. But since you're a senior, do you feel like you've been deprived so far of the senior experience? You know, there may not be a Roth Regatta, a Brookfest, all of these major things that everyone looks forward to every year because of safety and health guidelines. So do you think you're being deprived and missing out on these major events?
Definitely. Without a doubt, definitely. But you can't think about the things that you could have had because we can't do anything about it. So I wouldn't say I'm deprived. Sure, I'm a little bit disappointed, but it's up to us as seniors and as freshmen and anyone in this university. It's really up to us to kind of determine how we're going to feel and like how we're going to deal with it. Mm-hmm. Because you can get stuck in, oh no, we don't have Brookfest and we don't have Roth Regatta and we don't have all these events that we're used to. But that doesn't help you in any way.
Right.
So we really have the chance, like, it's a new situation, new scenario. We really have a lot of creativity, and, you know, it's kind of up to us to make...
Right. It's about, like, reimagining what you know these events to be. So, like, last semester, Roth Regatta went virtual, and there was a virtual Roth Regatta where they were winners for that. So it's about, like, you know, still being active in whatever events USG or any other campus entity puts out.
Yeah, exactly.
But, do you feel like that's a common, you know, feeling amongst seniors? You know, they're being deprived. They're not getting the full experience. They're paying all this money, and there's no graduation. There's no this. Well, hopefully there is. But last year they didn't have one. So, you know, like, do you think a lot of people feel the way you do, or more so they're being deprived?
They definitely feel like they're being deprived, and I can see why. Like, a new email just came out that were about how spring semester is looking.
Oh, right. I saw it.
And a lot of people don't like that we're not going to have a spring break this semester. So, you know, I definitely feel like that's the more prevalent way of thinking, and it's completely understandable.
Yeah. And it also looks like next semester is also going to be online for most people, since it also said classes of 45 people or more are online. So, you know, it's just adjusting to the... not new normal, but the times.
The current normal.
Yes. So do you feel like this is just another added stressor to the list of things that we would normally be stressed about as seniors?
Yeah, definitely, because senior year is such a crucial time in university. Either you're going to graduate school, Maybe you're studying for the MCATs, maybe you're studying for the LSATs. And it's really the time where you need hands-on experience because you're getting prepared to go to the actual job market. And where else are you going to learn these technical skills? Like our labs are so important because they give you hands-on experience. But that's going to be something that us as seniors, we're going to be lacking because of the situation.
Right. So how would you suggest seniors make the most out of the time that they're given? How do they prepare for the job market? How do they prepare for grad school while we're all like online?
I would say the best way to prepare is to, first of all, study. You always got to study. But to also make sure that you're good mentally. Because this is a very mentally testing situation. And it is, you can fall, like, you can get down on yourself very easily because, like, everything's just so different and, like, you're not used to it and you're uncomfortable and, like, you can't do the things that make you happy. But it's really important to keep yourself mentally strong, do things to help you, like, de-stress, anything like that, because you can't afford to let your mental go because that, after you lose that, everything else goes downhill. So I would say study, but also do something new. Get a hobby. Do some yoga. Probably just, keep yourself up.
And I would also, suggest keep talking to people. Don't
definitely
isolate from people. I know, especially for people who may be, getting a new job or something or moving across the country. I don't know what everyone's plans are, but that may be the case where you might find yourself in a place where you don't know anyone. Try to continue to meet new people and socializing because that keeps a healthy mind as well. So are there any other tips that you would have to prepare for the real world or things like that?
Start making connection now.
Right.
Because you were talking about getting your foot out there and, like, meeting new people. Humans we're not selfish beings. Like, we need cooperation and we need communication to function at our highest level. And it takes you can connect with someone over the simplest things. Whether it's just having a conversation like we are right now, whether you're talking about football season starting, music, art, there's so many ways. Just one person needs to take a step forward. And if you feel like, oh, well, I don't have a lot of friends or, like, I'm too shy, like, I guarantee you just need to meet one person and they will take you out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, you're right. I completely agree with that. I think it's also important to think about your future, and that's a great way to continue to think about how you're going to get a job, how you're going to continue to make these relationships, especially because we don't know what the future holds. We don't know how the job market's going to look, if it's going to get better or worse, because with COVID, we don't know what it holds. We're learning as we go.
Yep.
So has COVID changed your perspective on what you want to do in the future?
Not really, but it kind of changed how I think I'm gonna go about it. Cause I wanted to be a lawyer for the longest time that I can remember. So I feel like I kind of owe it to my childhood self that I kind of have to be a lawyer now. But it's definitely like it changes the way that I see it. Like I was just gonna study for the LSAT, go to law school, and then do law. That's like kind of how I see it. But now COVID really makes me think about, like, wait, the job market is actually very volatile. Like, it can shift at a drop of the hat. So how am I gonna put myself in a position to kind of stick out, to kind of be unique? And I think that's a really good tip for anyone who's trying to either go into law school. It's pretty much a one-way example, but
right. So, last question. We aren't just living through a pandemic. We are also witnessing what may be one of the most historic elections of our lifetime. How do you think this election affects you differently than past elections?
So, this election is actually very important. I feel so strongly about this, and I will say it to anyone I meet. This isn't an election about politics or policy or bipartisanship or anything like that. This election is actually an election for democracy itself. And if you actually think about that statement, it's a scary thing to think about.
Yep.
Like, at no point in our nation's history, besides, certain things, have we been this divisive to each other. Not even listen. We don't always have to agree, but we don't listen to each other anymore.
It's a very polarized sort of society that we're living in. And it's funny because America was built on democracy, and the fact that it's being threatened in such a way is sort of, a threat to, like, the country, really.
Exactly. Our Constitution is actually being attacked right now. Down the list, and it's not being seen. Like, free speech, our press is being dismantled or being, what do you call it? What's the word? They're being disavowed. Key structures that we've had the most faith in, that have guided us through a whole lot of stuff in our nation's history, are now suddenly, they're unapprovable. Like, you feel distrust for these key things, and it's like nobody's recognizing it.
Right.
And we have so many more issues just being brought up by this, like racial tensions. Our student loan crisis is still going up, and nobody's talking about it because every day there's something else. So I feel like if you've never voted, if you don't feel like voting, you need to get out there and vote. I already voted. I sent in my absentee ballot the day I got it.
Nice.
But, like, get out there. You need a vote.
Yep. So, Huntley, thank you so much for all your comments and for your time for today.
Thank you very much.
Don't turn around, just keep moving forward.